Greetings class, welcome to Duel Academy. Professor Rivas here, and this will be the first lesson of your first class in your raw yellow term, Advanced Summoning Techniques, Ritual, and Fusion Summoning. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to be up to date with the latest Duel Academy lessons and assessments. So without further ado, get your deck, get your game on, and let's get started. Before we learn how to ritual summon, we need to learn what ritual monsters are. Ritual monsters are special monsters that are special summoned with the specific ritual spell card along with the required tribute. Ritual monster cards are placed in the main deck and cannot be summoned unless you have all the proper cards together in your hand or on the field. Ritual monsters generally have a high attack and defense, and some have special abilities, just like fusion monsters. Here are the steps to ritual summon. Step 1. When you have a ritual spell card, along with the matching ritual monster card, in your hand, along with the required tribute, you can activate the ritual spell card, placing it in the spell and trap zone. Step 2. If the activation of the ritual spell card is successful, tribute monsters by sending them from your hand or the field to the graveyard. Step 3. After sending the tributed monsters to the graveyard, play the ritual monster card in your main monster zone in either face-up attack or defense position. Finally, place the ritual spell card in the graveyard. To show these steps, here are the cards that will be seen in the following demo. Dark Blade and Gene Warped Werewolf will be used as tributes for the ritual summon. Blackluster Ritual for the ritual spell, which reads, "This card is used to ritual summon Blackluster Soldier." You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total level is 8 or more. Finally, Blackluster Soldier will be used for the ritual monster. Here, we have the demo contents in your hand. First things first, activate Blackluster Ritual from your hand to the field. Then, you can send the level 4 Gene Warped Werewolf and level 4 Dark Blade from your hand to the graveyard as tributes to satisfy the ritual spell requirements. Afterwards, you can ritual summon Blackluster Soldier from your hand to the field. Finally, send Blackluster Ritual from the field to the graveyard. When a card or effect that ritual summons resolves, if the requirement cannot be met or the ritual monster cannot be ritual summoned, no ritual summon occurs, nor is any action taken for the ritual summon's requirement. This means that in order to ritual summon, you need to have 100% of all the components. For example, let's say your current hand has Vendread Anima, Mizuki, and Revendread Origin. If you activate Revendread Origin, you cannot send Anima and Mizuki to the graveyard as tributes since you don't have a ritual monster like Vendread Chimera, as much as you would like Anima and Mizuki in the graveyard. On the flip side, if you only have Vendread Chimera and Revendread Origin, along with an empty graveyard, you wouldn't be able to ritual summon Chimera since you don't have the sufficient tributes. If the card or effect that ritual summons does not mandate an exact total level, the player cannot tribute additional monsters if they already met the minimum level requirement. Essentially, this means you cannot overpay with tributes. Let's say you have Mizuki, Vendread Anima, Vendread Core, Revendread Origin, and Vendread Chimera in your hand. If you activate Origin, you will not be able to tribute Mizuki, Anima, and Core, because their level sum would be 6 when the minimum of 5 is required to ritual summon Chimera. Therefore, you would only be able to tribute Mizuki and Anima, or Mizuki and Core. Now if you have Mizuki and Vendread Strikes, you can ritual summon Chimera because even though it exceeds the minimum level requirement, you are not overpaying with another monster. Monsters that do not have levels, such as Xyz monsters and Link monsters, cannot be tributed for ritual summons. We would discuss Xyz and Link monsters in a future class, but here are some tidbits. Notice on this Xyz monster, number 39 Utopia, the stars are on the left, not the right. This is because Xyz monsters have ranks, not levels. Because of this, Xyz monsters cannot be used as tributes for ritual summoning. Next, notice on this Link monster, Decode Talker, there aren't any stars at all, meaning it does not have a level. Once again, with the absence of a level, it cannot be used to ritual summon. A player can activate a card or effect that ritual summons even if all their main monster zones are used, but only if they tribute one of their monsters on the field when that card or effect resolves. Keep in mind that ritual monsters cannot be summoned in the extra monster zone, since it doesn't originate from the extra deck. Since it comes from the main deck, it must be summoned in a main monster zone. With that being said, if all 5 of your main monster zones are occupied, you can still activate the ritual spell and ritual summon as long as you tribute at least one monster on the field to make space for the ritual monster. Face down monsters can be tributed for a ritual summon unless the card text specifies otherwise. When you tribute a face down monster for a ritual summon, just verify with the opponent that the minimum level requirement is being met. Here are some ritual decks that you may be interested in if ritual summoning sounds fun to you. We already discussed Vendreads, but other ritual decks like Drytron, Gishki, and Demise and Ruin are viable options to test out. Next up, we have fusion summoning. However, what exactly are fusion monsters? Fusion monsters are placed in your extra deck, not in your main deck. They are summoned by using the specific monsters listed on the card, called fusion materials, combined with the summoning card, like polymerization. They usually have special abilities and very high attack points as well. Since fusion summons require specific cards, be sure and include those necessary cards in your main deck. Now, let's learn how to fusion summon. Step 1. If you have all the fusion materials listed on the fusion monster card in the places specified on your summoning card, you can activate your summoning card by placing it in your spell and trap zone. Step 2. Send the fusion materials to the graveyard. Then, take the appropriate fusion monster from your extra deck and play it in the extra monster zone in either face-up attack or defense position. This could also be summoned in a main monster zone. Step 3. Place your summoning card in the graveyard. To show these steps, here are the cards that will be seen in the following demo. Elemental Hero Avian and Burstinatrix will be used as the required fusion materials. Polymerization will be the fusion spell used, and Elemental Hero Flame Wingman will be the fusion monster that will be fusion summoned. In your hand, you have the fusion materials Avian and Burstinatrix, and the fusion spell, Polymerization. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman is currently located in the extra deck where it belongs. To start things off, you would activate Polymerization from your hand to the field. Then, you would send the fusion materials, Avian and Burstinatrix, from your hand to the graveyard. Next, you can fusion summon Elemental Hero Flame Wingman from the extra deck. You can fusion summon Flame Wingman to either an extra monster zone or a main monster zone. Finally, Polymerization would then go to the graveyard. Now, let's discuss some fusion summoning advanced rulings. Fusion monsters must be fusion summoned with its corresponding fusion materials. However, some cards may act as a fusion materials substitute. Although specific fusion materials are needed to fusion summon a monster, a card like King of the Swamp can be used to substitute a fusion material. Fusion materials can all be in your hand, on the field, or the combination of both to conduct a fusion summon. In the demo, Elemental Hero Avian and Elemental Hero Burstinatrix were in the hand to fusion summon. However, the fusion summon would have still been possible if both monsters were on the field, or if one of the monsters was on the field while the other was in your hand. Like other extra deck monsters, if a fusion monster is not fusion summoned first, it cannot be special summoned from the graveyard or while banished. A card like Ghostrifter can send one of your fusion monsters from the extra deck to the graveyard. However, you wouldn't be able to special summon that monster with the card like Monster Reborn, since the fusion monster was never properly fusion summoned. Polymerization is just one of many cards that allow you to conduct a fusion summon. Other cards like Fusion Substitute and Fusion Gate allow for general fusion summons, while cards like Shaddoll Fusion and Lunalight Fusion are specific fusion spells for archetypes. There are also fusion spells that bend the mechanics of fusion summoning. For example, Super Polymerization is a fusion spell that not only allows you to use fusion materials from your side of the field, but your opponent's field as well. Other fusion spells bend the mechanics by letting you fusion summon by allowing you to send the fusion materials from the deck straight to the graveyard, like Red Eye's Fusion and Fusion Destiny. Contact Fusion is another method to special summon fusion monsters without polymerization or any other fusion cards. However, they are not considered fusion summons. Although this isn't technically fusion summoning, I thought we'd talk about it. Since contact fusions don't require a fusion spell, it isn't considered fusion summoning. Some examples include Elemental Hero Nebula Neos and Elemental Hero Storm Neos, which allow you to shuffle the fusion materials from the field to the deck to special summon them. Here are some fusion decks that you may enjoy. Elemental Hero and Frightfur are good to practice general fusion summoning, while Gladiator Beasts focus on contact fusing. Thank you so much for attending this class. There will be a quiz in this lesson, so don't forget to take it. I hope you have a great day, and class dismissed.